Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 136 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on Monday, May 28th, 2018.
I'm first.
It's entirely possible that Marty's power's gone out.
No, it's just I was looking ahead at the news articles. I'm Marty, hunter and sport shooter in rural southern Ontario.
I'm Gavin, a business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist.
Okay, I'm not sure. Did my power go out now?
No, I think Gavin's internet cut out. His
Right.
downloading all the porn. I'm Tim. I'm a sport shooter, owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts. They're quite good. I'm also the proud descendant of immigrants.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm your host. I'm a recovering libertarian, competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. And for listeners of Canadian Patriot Podcast, you can save 5% at Ragnarok Tactical by using the discount code PATRIOT at checkout. And now we find out if Gavin's back. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. If you miss Gavin, you can send us feedback, CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback, or email us feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Versions of the show are available on Stitcher and iTunes.
What if they miss absent Gavin?
They can still send feedback to Gavin.
Okay.
Tell us why you miss Gavin. Feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
All right, we need your help. Support the show. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. And as always, you can show you are not a communist wanting stuff for free by supporting the show and buying a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link to the right.
All right, let's go into What Are We Drinking? Every week, What Are We Drinking is brought to us by Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. And I have special news for our listeners in Southern Ontario. We have... Ragnarok Tactical, the thing I do when I'm not podcasting. Ragnarok Tactical has a pre-order for Arrowhead Coffee. We're going to be running 2 private courses in June. Those courses will be fueled by Arrowhead, but that means we're going to be buying a bunch of coffee, and we'll have it for sale for our customers in Southern Ontario. We will not be shipping the coffee. You can, however, make arrangements to pick it up or have it dropped off. There's a delivery schedule on the website. If you go to ragnaroktactical.ca, go into the product section and click on coffee. We'll have all the different flavors of Arrowhead coffee available. So let's do What Are We Drinking? We'll start with Marty. What are you drinking?
I have the champagne of beer tonight, Miller High Life.
Okay, serious question. Why?
Well, I should be back on keto today. After getting back from the States. But the concept, like the idea of drinking other Slim and Clear, prompted me to decide to start keto back again tomorrow.
So instead of drinking terrible near beer, you're still drinking terrible, slightly nearer beer?
No, I'm drinking the champagne of beer.
I respectfully disagree.
Does it say that on the can?
It says it right on the can. I don't know what you're disagreeing with.
False advertising, my friend. False advertising.
I mean, I don't see how that could be true.
Tim, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Rickard's Red. Always
right,
delicious.
I'm drinking more homebrew again this week. I have more of my delicious summer ale because it's hot AF in Southern Ontario this week. Let's do some news. Excellent. This will make for great audio content. Gavin has sent me an update. His internet is effed. So let's do the news without Gavin. We're going to start with an article from the CBC. More than 1,000 Canada Revenue Agency employees have been disciplined for misconduct over the past 4 years. I can't say I'm terribly shocked about this. I am shocked about the number. Because holy crap, 1,000 employees for misconduct in 4 years? That is an impressive figure.
So what was the misconduct? Did the CRA suddenly realize that theft was against the law?
I wish, but so the leading cause for misconduct was failure to protect CRA's information. There are some other causes: failure to protect CRA's assets and property, failure to protect and manage public funds. Surprisingly, that didn't get a lot of results for the type of misconducts. Failure to protect the CRA's reputation, and failure to foster a healthy and respectful workplace.
But theft is still good.
I'm a little surprised that the failure to protect CRA's reputation is so high, because you would think that as people whose jobs it is to screw the average Canadian, they're achieving their goals. So I feel like that they're correctly representing the CRA.
Yeah. Don't you get the feeling though it's supposed to be more like 5,000, but the guy's really dragging his feet with the paperwork?
I mean, yes and no. I'm surprised that it's 1,000 reported cases in a 4-year period. I'm both shocked at how high and how low that number is. There's 44,000 employees for CRA. So, I mean, the failure rate on that is not super high, but it's higher than what I'm used to seeing in the industries that I've worked in.
Yeah, but I think, there's a difference between public sector versus, private sector. All your employees aren't members of the Taxation Union.
Yeah,
there's a Taxation Union, apparently.
A union of taxation employees, which is 25,000 people, which is around about half the people that work for CRA, which I'm curious what the other ones all are. Managers that aren't allowed to be in the union? Is there like another union? Just like, I have many questions about how the CRA operates, but I also have many questions about
why they operate at all.
Well, I only have one question about that. Why are we still paying for a war? Hooray, we've been paying income tax for 100 years to fund a war from 100 years ago. Yay. I'm surprised at how many people that they've had terminated or suspended for a lengthy time. They commingled the data for 20-day suspensions plus up to termination of employment, and they commingled the data for that for their reporting periods, and it works out to about 300 people that got 20 days plus up to being canned for doing something that was reprimandable. I'm surprised at how many people got fired for what they did. I would have figured they were more of the the lesser oral reprimand up to a few days suspension thing.
Yeah, I would hope that the people that leaked or, didn't safeguard sensitive information are the ones that got like fired and not just like a slap on the wrist. But
I guess we'll see. The government, or I guess, pardon me, the opposition wants to strike a committee to further investigate the CRA because this is all very troubling to the parliament.
Well, as it should be.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm surprised that the Conservative and the NDP critics are both in agreement on this. We'll see what the Liberals actually do, if they form a committee or not and actually investigate this further.
Well, they'll probably talk a lot about forming a committee and that they're gonna meet with some sort of committee, but then probably never do it, as per SOP.
All right, we got a lot of Ontario election stuff. Before we go into all the NDP things, I got what might be good news. It might also be pandering. It's the kind of pandering I can get behind if it is. There's an article in the Toronto Sun PC government would reintroduce buck of beer to Ontario, promises Ford. So Doug Ford, leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, would be willing to bring back buck of beer to Ontario, which the government had previously outlawed. If I'm not mistaken, this changed in 2008 when the Liberals in Ontario introduced a minimum price that you could sell beer at, because price fixing, I guess.
It's okay when they do it.
Well, this kind of like the price fixing on this it worries me some, right? Because the cost of the beer, like the retail price for beer before your HST, I think it's before the HST, is something like 47% of the price of beer is in taxes, tariffs, and other assorted duties that the government collects. It might be the post HST price. I can't recall. But in any event, half of the retail price of beer is tax. And in 2008, the Liberal government in Ontario said, you're also not allowed to sell beer for less than a certain dollar value. Now, the one thing that Ford is running with is that the buck of beer, or the allowing beer retailers, beer manufacturers to sell their product for $1 a beer won't impact government revenues, because the way that they tax beer is actually done volumetrically. It's not at the point of sale. So the price of the beer, while it impacts the HST, the other 50% of the taxes that you pay on your beer wouldn't be impacted, because they pay those the manufacturer pays those taxes, tariffs, and duties based on how much beer they manufacture. So it's like a tiered system. You make so many hectoliters of beer and you pay so many hundreds of dollars in fees, because if you didn't pay the government, how would you make beer?
Yeah. The taxes are getting out of hand.
I like that we're going to potentially have dollar beers in Ontario again. This appeals to me.
Yeah, make beer great again.
Or yeah, sorry, I just stepped away for a little bit there. But in general, it's a good election. It's a good election thing. It's just like the Liberals with the weed at the federal election. Like, just pick something that people actually will pay attention to and care about, and they'll do it.
Yeah, but then you actually have to do it.
Because I want dollar beers. Those beers weren't very good, but they're better than the $2.50 beers that they are now.
Well, yeah, but those dollar beers
to do this. He doesn't have to actually create dollar beers. All he has to do is say that you can sell it for $1 a beer.
Right.
And now it's up to you guys to do it.
Yeah.
But so it costs nothing to the government. There's nothing for him to implement. All he has to do is just say, yeah, you're allowed to sell it for $1.
Yeah. And if the shitty beers drop their price to $1, the better beers are going to have to lower their price slightly as well to be competitive. So it's win-win for everybody that likes beer, really.
Yeah, like anyone who has a concept of the market, then yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then whenever the market's always screwed up, like it is in Ontario with regards to beer, public school teachers, cell phone rates, housing,
everything
the government touches, they just like screw the market on it. And this is what he's done. He's just saying, okay, we're going to step back. We're going to remove all these freaking regulations, and the market is going to have a chance, at least on beer in Ontario, if it happens. So
I support this plan.
Somewhat. They still have to go through the only government approved beer union stores, but
well, one step at a time. The PC government is mentioning that they may allow the sale of beer and wine in corner stores. So there's a possibility that we might see a little bit more beer freedom.
Yeah, hopefully they take the free market approach and just let them sell it, and not the current, you can sell it in the grocery stores for retail price plus tax.
Between these hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's look at some Liberal promises from the National Post. Ontario Liberals promise to lower province debt using all unspent dollars. So the Liberals naturally were quick to point out that the Conservatives have not released their fiscal plan, or in fact a platform at this point. I'd like to point out at Kathleen Wynne at the time of the article that the time that this article was written, which would have been May 26th, The Liberal plan had been out for about 2 days, so maybe calm down on telling everybody that other people don't have their stuff together when you just released yours.
Yeah.
It's not like you didn't know the election was coming, and, oh, by the way, your party platform for your budget is literally just the existing 2018 government budget. So it took you how long into an election to release a budget that you'd already drafted as part of your existing government? Be better at government.
And why is there a surplus of money?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think there is a surplus of money because I'm not sure what the exact number is, but don't we have like a $300 billion debt in Ontario?
I think it's 364, isn't it?
So if we have a $364 billion debt, what unspent money is there? Because it seems like we spent so much of it, we actually are in the hole by $360 billion with a B dollars. Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know what kind of new math they're doing here, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, don't forget the 20 million in the closet.
Pay no attention to the debt behind the curtain.
God.
So I mean, like that. I mean, the whole. In all seriousness, the concept is that on the annual budget surplus would be used to pay down the deficit. But as long as we have Liberals in government, there's not going to be any annual budgetary surplus.
Oh, because the way they budget is you have to spend it all to keep getting it. Yeah.
So, like, you know, when under this Liberal government have we seen a surplus? Like, this is laughable. The concept that the fact that she's like even willing to mention the word surplus is insane.
Well, like she said in the last debate, like, are we going to talk about the last debate?
Yeah, well, we can talk about the last debate now. Give her.
Like, I sent you a drop, Andrew.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to move it over. There's no drops.
The editing and everything. She said we balanced the budget. She said what in the last debate. She said we balanced the budget.
I actually do have that drop, Tim.
Prepare your sanity.
I don't have her talking, but that's all I like. What, they balanced the budget. They did no such thing.
Yeah, on her teeth.
They sold off assets to offset the deficit for a single year. That's
we've talked about this. The assets they sold off were stupidly sold. Like they lost money selling those assets.
Yeah, we should have just kept the casino.
Yeah, it's generating revenue.
Yeah.
The one-time sale of assets that were making money, selling them for less than those assets make in the course of a year, is not smart business. Get better at government.
Maybe that's why they think
that's not the asset sale that balanced the budget.
No, it wasn't. It was a hydro sale, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a hydro sale. Oh, and partial sale of the LCBO.
Right. It's between those two. They sold both those off in the same year, and they were able to offset their deficit for that 1 year. In the meantime, giving up the revenue that both of those would have generated for the future.
Yeah, getting rid of the only people that are allowed to sell alcohol and a casino. The two things guaranteed to make money. Yeah, we don't need those things. Fuck it.
Right. And then 6 months later, saying, for weed in Ontario, the only people that can sell it are the people that we just sold the LCBO to.
Yeah. That's not fishy.
So when they purchased the LCBO, they purchased it under the valuation of the profit of selling alcohol. Now we're giving them the profit of selling the marijuana for free.
Yeah, that's probably because
there was no kickbacks for that.
Yeah, something happened behind closed doors with that one for sure.
Yeah.
This makes me incredibly sad. It's we're on the topic of being bad at budgets. Another National Post article. NDP leader Andrea Harwarth admits party made a $1.4 billion costing mistake. But it's okay. She's apologized, and then she insists that they're ready to form a government and lead Ontario out of debt.
Hey.
And for you guys who saw the last debate, like Doug Ford said, oh, they made a $7 billion mistake, and she's like, that's not true. That's not true. It was much less than that. And he goes, well, like $1.5 billion times 5 years, that's $7 billion. Like
Hey,
Yeah. What $1.4 billion annually for the 5 years? Like,
at least
I
she
mean,
was honest and said that, they don't know how to do a budget, unlike the liberals that are thinking
No,
that they can.
I disagree. She was not honest and didn't say they could do a budget. She overlooked this, said it was a minor issue, and they ignored it. And then it turned out to actually be an issue. And she said it was a little bit. She said the deficit would be a little bit bigger than expected, and balancing the budget would take longer. However, the party's plans were solid. No, they're effing not. You're out by $7 billion over the course of your potential term in government.
the official.
On that
I like that
one
they did
line
this because they counted deficit as surplus. That's how this happened. This is like literally our prime minister saying that deficits are how you measure growth.
Yeah,
That's how they did this budget.
it's the new math, eh?
Yeah.
But I like that with the official when they said. Yeah, when they said like your budget is off by $1.4 billion, going to cost about $7 billion in total. The official response to that from the NDP, I believe, was, "We did not see that coming."
I get it. It's a Hitler joke.
Yeah, they love Hitler jokes. In fact, Horvath in the final debate, she said to Doug when he was brought up the Hitler meme that one of her one of her candidates said, like posted like years ago, one of their candidates like quoted a Hitler meme, and she said, "If you had a sense of humor, Doug."
Yeah, like I love that the Hitler meme they posted, like it was a photo too. It wasn't even just the quote that like was accidentally was a quote of Hitler. It was it's a photo of him giving the salute and everything.
Yeah, it's not like that watercolor where they just go, "Oh, you've just enjoyed Hitler's watercolor." It's like it's.
Oh, Gavin's back. You missed out all the good Hitler jokes.
But Andrew's quiet now.
Yeah, it seems like he's talking and looking confused. He's wondering why no one can hear him right now.
Time to turn it off and turn it on again.
All right, looks like we're at the podcast now.
Andrew, if you can hear us, clean your mouse.
You gotta take the ball out the bottom and clean all the lint out of that thing. That's how you get your voice working again.
Oh.
And we lost Andrew.
We the podcast now.
All right, I guess. Do you want to move on?
Did you want to go? Did you watch the final debate?
I did not see the final one yet.
Oh, okay. It's worth a watch. There's a CBC did a thing, and it's like this 3-hour video, but really it's if you cut out their commentary at the start and beginning and end, it's probably only like an hour and 10 or 20 minutes. But then there's also people who've already edited.
What format did they use for the debate? Was it like everybody answers individual questions, or do they all go through the same question and answer?
They would.
It was like a mix of everything, sort of. Really,
yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Did they counter each other and stuff?
They were actually allowed to ask other them questions.
Basically, they talked over one another, regardless. I mean,
yeah. I tell you, Doug Ford and his common sense, like responses and shit like that, he got more. They were not allowing applause during the debate, but he got more unallowed applause than anyone else.
At least they had them in front of podiums this time, because it was super awkward in that one debate where they're just like standing on stage side by side. Like,
yeah, we don't do debate well in this country.
No, we really don't.
We're too polite.
The conservative leadership debates, those were especially painful with like 14 candidates all in a line.
Oh God, yeah, that was super painful. But yeah, these were better, but I think that was probably because there was only like 3 people, so they all got a little bit longer of a time to talk. But like, I mean, it always just turns into a shit show because they end up just like bickering amongst themselves, regardless.
But it's always like very tame compared to like even the in the States the Republican, like debates.
Yeah.
All the lines the one-liners that came out of there.
Yeah, but they were all from Trump. Like,
Yeah, well, Marco, little Marco.
low energy Jeb.
Yeah. So
All
I
right,
guess
well,
we'll probably move on.
I guess let's talk about the sanctuary plan. I haven't read this article. Has anybody read this one?
No, yeah, no.
I had no power to get on and read the articles ahead of time, so
It got to me when Kevin posted the 1 hour. We go live in 1 hour, and it's like, shit, I got time to get drunk or read the articles, but not both. So I followed my gut, and it's more important.
That's pretty much how I roll every week.
Yeah.
No, but I'm pulling it up right now. But if it's anything like in the U.S., I absolutely don't want. Oh, here we go. What Andrea Horwath's sanctuary plan means for Ontario healthcare.
okay. So let's look at the NDP platform is clear, providing sanctuary. Andrea Horwath and the NDP will declare Ontario to be a sanctuary province. Cities across Ontario have declared themselves to be sanctuary cities, where people can access basic services without fear, regardless of their immigration status. This is the decent, humane thing to do. So her plan is that cities across Ontario will have free healthcare, whether or not you're a citizen in this country or not.
Oh, so we can get rid of our health cards then.
Yeah, good point.
So any American that's anywhere near is just clearly just going to drive up here and get free healthcare, right?
Yeah, you'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
Now this is a healthcare system that is already overburdened and underproviding, and now we're going to have a flood of non-Canadians trying to use the services.
Well, and
It seems like
in the final debate, she mentioned again and again and again, she attacked Wynne and the Liberals for this hallway medicine. Like there was like something like 4,300 instances where people were treated and they never even got a room in the hospital. They were treated in the hallways, like in the past year or something.
Yeah, she was really going after her on that one. But it's not going to get better when you allow more people in.
No, and the thing is, like, this is even worse than when they wanted to create Obamacare in the States. Now, Obamacare in the States, the problem with it was kind of like, imagine you were creating a like insurance company for vehicles, but suddenly you just made it so that you didn't even need to have the insurance